The following is a pre-recorded show. Welcome to Winning in Retirement with your host, Brian Akers, certified financial planner professional and founder of Akers Financial Group. Now, helping you win in your retirement, here's Brian Akers.
Welcome to Akers Financial Group's Winning in Retirement radio podcast. I'm Brian Akers from Akers Financial Group. I'm founder and president of Akers Financial Group. And here with me today is certified financial planner practitioner, Alex Monk. Good morning, Alex.
Brian, wonderful to be here with you.
I'm very happy to have you here. There's a lot of topics today, but I think you're the man for the job of this show that we've created today.
I got to tell you, Brian, I'm a little nervous, a little excited. I got a lot of stuff happening right now. This is my show. It's my thing.
I'm glad it's your show, Alex. The hard part, it's really for them. It's for everyone listening and driving around the area or wherever you listen to your radio podcast. It could be in your garage, could be in your kitchen, could be on your lawnmower.
On the lawnmower is a big one this time of year.
Absolutely. So as you're listening to this show, what happens is this. It's a financial show. And you're like, oh, it's the same old, same old. Guess what? Today's not the same old, same old. We're going to try to talk about things that we really need to talk about. We're going to talk about the things that worry us, the things that make us nervous, the things that make us excited. And what happens is this, is we believe that as you're listening to the show and you think about having a first conversation with someone, one of our team of advisors here at Akers Financial Group, you get nervous about that appointment. Like, oh, I'm not prepared. I'm not ready. I'm not good enough. I'm not going to be good enough. I don't know what goes through your mind about having that first conversation. Some of you might be excited, can't wait to get that meeting, and we love for that. But the idea today is this. When it comes to a first conversation with an advisor at Akers Financial Group, are you nervous or are you excited? The show is to talk about that so you can understand what you're getting yourself into by having that free first conversation with an advisor at Akers Financial Group.
You know, and people are like, wait a second, this is a show about money.
Yep.
Like, why are we talking about the emotions? But the things, they go hand in hand. Like it's a big deal. And people, you know, depending on how you're raised, like what you got all these different views about money. Like how many things have you sat through on psychology of money? I mean, I do it all the time.
I would tell you that when it comes to any decision, there's the emotional side and the financial side. Sometimes we let the emotions run our decisions so much we make wrong financial decisions. Sometimes we're all about the numbers and not about any of the emotions. And so your wife might be wondering why you're doing this because she doesn't connect with your decision you just made.
Right. And it's like if you have your dog at the ER and they come out with a bill, it's like, which side are you using?
This is after the operation or before?
I guess before.
Yeah, that'd be brutal.
Right? Like, that's a tough emotional decision.
Yep.
But, you know, meeting with somebody like you, I mean, or me, I think we're pretty easy to talk to.
I think so. And we built a company of advisors at Akers Financial Group where we enjoy our job. We enjoy having you come in to visit. When you walk in the door, there isn't a fee for that first time. We're also not there to sell you something. The only thing we're trying to talk about is you and how Akers Financial Group, a group of independent financial advisors, can help you where you are right now to get where you need to be. So that first conversation is something where it's something that needs to be done no matter what age, what amount of money you have saved, how successful you might be, and you might be embarrassed to come in because, oh, I shouldn't need a financial advisor because I'm so successful. And the reality, it's the opposite. How do you stay successful? You need a coach, a financial advisor.
Those people that are really good at their craft, too. Like, if you're good at fixing people's shoulders, like, and you got rubber gloves on covered in blood, you're not on your computer making trades. Like, that's not what you want to be doing.
Yeah, well, some are. No, they shouldn't be.
They shouldn't be, right? And that's what we're here for.
We've had phone calls from ER rooms before. So the idea is this. The show is called, basically, are you nervous or are you excited when it comes to that first meeting when you know you need to see a financial advisor and you put it off and you've never done it and it's time.
Yeah.
It's time for you to sit down and talk with a financial advisor, and we invite you to call us. Now, Akers Financial Group is very easy to reach. You call us at 1-833-WIN-RETIRE. That's WINRETIRE. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE. Now, that's 833-946-7384 if you don't transfer the letters to numbers. That's a little more difficult.
Alphanumeric.
Man, you're using big words today.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, so the reality is this. So Alex Monk meets someone for the first time. They come in. That process of them coming in doesn't begin by they just show up one day. It begins with a phone call, right?
Yeah, or an email, right? So whatever's easier, you just get in touch with us and say, hey, I'm interested in what you guys are talking about. Like, I need a plan. I need to figure this out.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I hear about people that listen to the radio show, they'll call Saturday or Monday and say, okay, I'm ready to meet. And then some of them don't come in right away. And I wonder why they might not come in to meet after they've already made the call.
Well, if you've already made the call, like, I don't get it either. Like, hey, like, let's do this.
Well, sometimes
Or
I believe
if you maybe got multiple, you're fishing.
Well, the nervous, the fit. You're talking about seeing many people, many advisors, checking them all out, which we're okay with that.
Please do.
We don't mind auditioning.
Oh, I love to audition. I go, take this with you to those other guys.
Yeah. Well, the hardest part is when you're an independent financial advisor, you can really help them in any way possible. We don't have constraints.
Right.
We also don't have one product only to sell them. Some conversations when you go in to visit people, you're going to see what they do and what's most important to them. Just look around their office, see if there's already a brochure sitting there ready for you. See if there's a package of paper that is designed for a product versus the idea of the product being the process. At Akers Financial Group, the product is the process of planning and understanding what you would like, where we try to discover where you are now, what you want to do. Everyone comes in with questions, they come in with concerns, they come in for reasons, and we want you to be very comfortable with the idea of let's talk about things first, see what Akers Financial can provide to help meet those goals.
And like you said, Brian, like people come in for a reason, and sometimes not a great reason, right? It's like a life event.
Yeah, something in their life is transitioning.
A life event, right?
Pass away, disability, divorce, the college education,
job loss, job change.
Job might change.
Right.
I want to change a job.
Career change.
Please let me retire, Brian.
I mean, how many have you seen? Like, I've seen so many different, like, it's not like a life change, but this thing like spurs in them. And I wish there were more people that were like, things are going really good in my life right now. Mm-hmm. How could they get better?
Yeah.
Or am I doing the best?
The conversations I like is I'm doing so well in my career. I need someone to help me with this side of my life, the financial life. And I listened to the radio show, and I'm comfortable with you, and I want to talk about how what you talk about will apply to me. I love that because that begins a path and a process of beginning to know you, the client. And knowing you, the client, is how we get down to how to advise and implement and track and handle everything for you.
I'm still just shocked that there's people out there, and there's a ton of them that are able to sell the same thing to everybody. Mm-hmm. It's like that to me just doesn't make any sense. Like, you and I are different people, right? Like, we're not going to wear the same pants. Like,
yeah, I would never wear the colors you put on.
Right, like I'm taller, so like my pants would look weird on you. Like,
I wasn't going there. I really wasn't going there. But so financial plans should be different sizes.
Absolutely, right? Like,
well, they have to be.
Gotta be.
We call it your financial fingerprint because you're individual, you're unique, your situation is yours. It's not like anybody else, and so the answer shouldn't be like everyone else.
Right. Like, you have all these grown-up adults. I just picture them in these giant pairs of pants walking around our office. Like, that's not what it's about. We want everybody's plan to fit them, right? Tailored.
Yeah, I was thinking of a comedian that was on one of those shows. Pants was his job. All right, moving right along to the show is the first conversation. So you want to have that first conversation. You want to call Akers Financial Group, and you're a little nervous about it. And what we want you to do is to become excited about it, about the opportunity. Excited about the opportunity to begin where you are and to discover what you want it to accomplish. Imagine that the plan is you. It's what you want. It's not what we want.
Right. Like, people are like, well, should I move to this state? Should I buy an RV? I'm like, well, I mean, wait a second. Like, it's not, you just can't pick a state. Like, where's your family? Like, all these different things. Like,
I love telling stories when they ask that question. I just start telling RV clients that retired stories. We have the people moved to different states that was successful. We have stories that they moved to a state and they moved right back. We have all kinds of stories because we have all kinds of people.
Right.
The idea is that everything costs money. If you get yourself into a couple $100,000 RV, it's going to cost money. If you move out of state and sell your current house here, it's going to cost you money. If you want to come back, it costs you even more money.
Those are the worst. When you got to come back and quickly, those are tough.
Yeah, it's not an easy decision. The hardest part is if you want to keep two houses, it costs you more money. So the idea is, can you afford it? Is it the right thing financially? Can you really do some of the dreams? What kind of dreams are reality, and what kind of dreams are I can do one of the three dreams, I can't do all three?
Yep.
And so how do we decide? How do we make sure? And the idea is that we don't decide for you. We guide you to help you know what to do.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And, you hear us like having fun, but like that's excitement. Like I get excited talking and seeing my clients go from this is where I was. Yeah. And like, then they send me a picture, a selfie with them and a giraffe in Africa. And I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I was thinking that first conversation, we like it to be in person. That's our dream, is to be in person. So we get to know each other, talk, and build a relationship. Because a relationship with an advisor is where you really are opening up and talking about your situation. That might be the reason you're nervous. Yeah. But the reality is that as we both work together with your goals in mind, it's going to build into a great financial plan to reach your goals.
Yeah. And for me, like, I think I have the greatest job in the world. Like I get to help people achieve those goals and watch them live out the best times of their lives. And it just takes a little bit of work.
Yeah, it's good days. And even there for the bad days, it's not the fun, the bad days, but helping have a plan that's already in place to handle the worst case scenarios is all about financial planning. So this idea of a first conversation, are you nervous or excited? That is our show topic today. Akers Financial Group, we're local. We're independent. We don't report to a big company on Wall Street or a big company in Iowa. We report to you. We do have offices in Lutherville, Forest Hill. We meet clients all around the Mid-Atlantic region, all around the country, and even a few of our clients are around the world. It's so easy to begin winning in retirement. You just give us a call and schedule your free meeting, your first conversation with one of our team of advisors by calling us at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WINRETIRE. We'll give you a call on Monday to schedule your free in-person meeting with one of our team of advisors. Go to akersfinancialgroup.com or call us at 833-946-7384 to start planning for your retirement now. What should a first conversation lead to? We'll talk about that in just a moment.
You're listening to a pre-recorded show. Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. Call 833-WIN-RETIRE now to schedule a visit with Brian and his team and begin winning in retirement. Once again, here's Brian Akers.
Welcome back to Winning in Retirement, a radio podcast put on by Akers Financial Group. I'm Brian Akers, and here with me today is Alex Monk. We're both certified financial planner practitioners. Alex has been working with me for 13 years. I've been working for a couple of days. I like the word minute. I've been working for a minute.
For a minute.
Yeah, that means, 37 years, right?
40? That's a round number.
I don't round up when it comes to experience because it sounds so much.
That's a rounded 40, man. You look good for that hold.
Well, I didn't know. I didn't start that young. But reality, I started at 19, so life goes quick. Yeah. I say life goes quick. The idea is this, that finances, you need to realize certain things in life, and that is life does go quick. And if you're not saving monthly and putting money away now, no one else is. If you're nervous or excited about your retirement planning, you're going to accomplish every goal you have if you're excited and ready to do it.
Yeah, if you're nervous, it usually means you
don't do it.
You're not doing it.
Yeah, it's not an excuse, but it's a reason. It's a reasoning in your head that comes down to financial planning. You'll say, "Oh, I'll do it next year," or a financial advisor doesn't want me. I don't have enough money. Or whatever that reason is preventing you from talking to a financial advisor, we want you to know that we want to be an advisor for you. We want to sit down and have that first conversation. So we were creating this show to talk about the idea, are you nervous or excited about a conversation, about the first free conversation with an advisor? At Akers Financial Group, we don't want you to be that way. but want you to understand that it's understandable to be nervous or excited. Basically, the nervous part might cause people not to meet because they're not prepared properly. They're nervous to show someone what they've done. They might be nervous to show their spouse the real numbers of what they've done, what's happened, the good and the bad, especially after a day trader might have lost most of their money in a couple of trades, and all of a sudden they got to explain to their spouse that things aren't like they were a week or two ago.
Yeah, those are brutal. I mean,
yeah.
And it differs every scenario, like you're saying. Like, we can't even hit on all the ones that we see. You know, one thing I do like to do after the end of my first meetings is I ask the people, I'm like, so how did it go? Like,
You actually say that?
oh yeah, all the time. Like, I'm like, was it better or worse than you expected?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times they're very nervous, right? They're like, this guy's going to tell me whether I can retire or I can or this or that or, you know, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's like going to the principal's office for some people.
Right.
They think, oh, I got to go to this financial person. They're going to tell me everything I'm doing wrong and that I'll never be able to retire and I'm going to have to go work the rest of my life. And then reality is that when you walk through the door, the fact that you walk through the door makes you more successful than everyone that did not walk through the door.
Absolutely.
And that puts you in this high level of people of the high probability of being able to retire based on your own parameters. So it's very, very important to understand that a first conversation is needed. Something that no matter how nervous you are, you need that first conversation so that you can build from there and build a relationship with an advisor that's going to help you where you are and grow from there.
Yeah, I mean, and it all starts about figuring out, okay, where are we at today? Like, and I tell people this all the time, and I think it's hilarious, but some of them, you know, they don't. I say, I'm not going to judge you for what you did before, but I will judge you now that we've met.
Oh, yeah?
Right? Because if I'm going to give you advice, if I'm here for you, then we need to be, you know, objective. Like, okay. Like, and they say, well, I did this back then. I said, well, none of that matters anymore, right? And we didn't know back then.
Yeah.
But starting today, like, I'm going to hold you accountable too. Like, that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, that's a tougher conversation. Is that in that first meeting you have that conversation, or that a little later?
Well, usually, like, in that first meeting, people are like, well, you know, I did this, and they have a bunch of excuses. And I'm like, look, you don't have to make excuses. Like, you're a doctor. You didn't know that, or, you know, you do this. Like, how are you?
Absolutely.
I'm not holding you that accountable, but...
Or some are ashamed that they might have bought something they didn't understand, but they bought it anyway because they felt a little pressured, and they're sort of locked in, but they don't know how to get out of things. So we've done some conversations like that. So this quarter, we're trying to cover a little question called, what should a first conversation lead to? So if you walk in and you have that conversation and you have things such as something you bought that you're locked into and you want to know what to do, what the first conversation leads to is us giving you the answer. We say, well, bring us the information about what it is. And we look at all the rules. Now, we understand the rules of annuities, annuity surrender charges, withdrawal possibilities. We understand IRA, Roth, 403B, 457, changing jobs with a loan on your 401k, and what do you do then? We understand quadros and all these more and more complex issues, and then we add our valuable advice to your exact situation, and that's why you need a first conversation.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't Google the stuff that we're talking about in this room with you because you're like, it's you.
I mean, you'll get a general answer if you start to Google, if you type in the right topic. The hardest part is you might go down a rabbit trail going down the wrong answer, almost like when you're feeling bad, right? So you start looking on the internet what the symptom is. Before you know it, oh, you're going to die tomorrow. And he's like, oh, I can't read that stuff.
On WebMD, just like,
oh my goodness,
Googling up cancers. Yeah.
Well, it's awful. And so you go into the doctor. I know I'm dying, and that's the way financial planning is too. So they're nervous because they've listened to radio shows, they listen to TV shows, they probably got a book or so, and they might have read part of the book. They watch other things about getting rich quicker, and they're like, oh, I'm not accomplishing my goals fast enough. Then they go to parties and family events, and they talk finance, and there's...
Everybody owns NVIDIA. They bought it at $20 a share.
Yeah, there's that uncle that always gives the advice. Or like in my case, I have a nephew who gives stock advice. So
Do you?
I do. It's funny.
Really?
It's funny because I'm the financial advisor, and so I'm the one supposed to be doing that.
Is he good?
No. Sorry, I shouldn't say that.
Anyway,
that's recorded, isn't it?
Yikes.
No. So the idea is this: the advice and stuff you hear and read and do, it doesn't have your name on it.
Correct. And I mean, how many financial plans have you put together? Not one of them's the same. I mean, the software might be the same, but everything else is different.
Yeah, the reason it's different because you're different than everybody else. We got to take where you are financially with the numbers, then we got to take whatever your goals are, what your needs are, what do you want to do. Now, that might sound overwhelming and a lot of decisions. You're not trying to make all these decisions at one time with an advisor.
No,
you start with a basic conversation. That conversation, what it leads to is getting to one answer. You know, let's solve one answer, one part of it. I think questions I've been asked in the last couple of weeks is, am I ready to retire? Am I good to retire? I said, well, why are you here? That was one of the questions. The other one is, how much do I need to save to be able to retire? That was just a simple question because they did the match at work and they just didn't even know what they should save. Then there's one that says, where will my income come from when I retire? Like because they got an early withdrawal offer. Not early withdrawal, early retirement offer, and they're like, okay, if I take this, where am I going to get paid from? The concept of transitioning from working and getting a paycheck to where their investments give them the paycheck.
It's terrifying.
Blew them away.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's a complete 180, right? Like you spend 40 years trusting your ability to earn money.
You know what day you're getting paid.
Right. You know how it works.
You get the net. You can see the pay stub sometimes on the software.
And then you're also adding, like you should be at least, like while you're working, you're adding to your accounts. So they're going up typically, right? Like It's hard not to when they're adding money to them.
Right.
And now we're asking you to stop your working, stop the pay, and trust everything that you've worked to save for.
Yeah.
And logistics are important. They're very important.
Yeah, I had this one person come in and they go, I hate taxes. I just don't want to pay any taxes. I said, okay, well, I can make this where you never pay taxes again, but you're going to have to pay a lot of taxes right now. Oh, I don't want to pay them. Well,
do you want to go to jail?
We pay tax now or later. We pay it on small stack of money versus a large. We just have to choose when we're going to pay the tax. And it's just part of financial planning. This and many more questions begin our relationship with our clients because in that first conversation, it's about talking about what's going on. So, Alex, the person walks in the door.
Here we go.
Who talks first?
Usually whoever's up front.
No. You take them to your office. Who talks first? You or
usually me?
Okay, so what do you say? Like,
I say,
what's your opening line?
So I said, "How did you end up here?"
Really? You don't say how in the world did you end up here.
I'm just like, so how'd you get in? And how do we get in this scenario that we're in today?
And how did they respond? They laugh at you?
Some laugh, some. You know, it depends, right? Like I've seen everything from like someone show up with a giant like your recycling box full of.
On the first meeting.
Yeah, full of their papers. Not sure what's what. And then I've seen other people with binders that just like, I'm scared to get into. I don't want to mess up. Like just tabs and just beautiful organizational skills. So like, it depends. Like it's a crapshoot, right? Some people are like, well, I listen to your radio show and I'm here. Boom. Some people are like, well, do you know this person, that person, this person? That's how I'm here. I'm like, oh, great.
Yeah, that's... What's interesting is how they answer that first question. Usually my first question is evolved around, so people come for a reason. What's your reason for coming in? And so usually they have a question that they just got to get an answer for.
One sheet, the top sheet they slide across.
Well, sometimes it depends if they're leaning back or leaning forward, if they're engaging or not. But everyone's different. And so the conversation always is different. And so finding out about them and what they want to do and what they want, where they want to be. I like the idea of dreaming a little bit about the future and then come back into the reality of where they are to see if it's possible or how it's possible.
Yeah, and I like to hear the story too, right? Like, it's usually like, well, I want to retire. Okay, and then I say, great, and then we find out like, how old are you? Yeah. And it naturally evolves. Like, do you have kids? Do you have this? Do you have that? Do your statements match what you're telling me? Like, I usually like to get the story first.
Yeah.
And then I see the information, so that I'm like, okay, well, here's where there's some disconnect. So we have some learning to do in this area, and then this is where we need to go.
Absolutely, because this conversation, that first conversation at Akers Financial Group, is everything to do with you. The retirement is going to be as unique as that financial fingerprint, which is your situation, exactly where you are. So as we're talking today about the first conversation, are you nervous or excited about what's going on? That first conversation, it leads to you building a financial plan, understanding what you have and how to use it, where to save, and how to build your financial plan based on your unique financial fingerprint, because that determines where your money goes. It's not going to be about us. It's going to be about you. So give us a call at 833-WIN-RETIRE and schedule an in-person meeting with one of our team of advisors. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE. 833-946-7384, or go to our website, akersfinancialgroup.com. How do you turn nervousness into excitement? We'll talk about this in the third quarter in just a moment.
You're listening to a pre-recorded show. Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. Call 833-WIN-RETIRE now to schedule a visit with Brian and his team and begin winning in retirement. Once again, here's Brian Akers.
Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. I'm the host, Brian Akers, president and founder of Akers Financial Group. Here with me today is Alex Monk. Alex Monk is a certified financial planner practitioner at Akers Financial Group. He's also one of the leads with our portfolios that we work with through our third-party money managers. Mm-hmm. He's also an expert and radio host for many years. Welcome back to the second half of the show, Alex Monk.
And I think I'm the tallest advisor here.
Yes, you have that as the big thing for you.
Yeah, as long as Bernie keeps shrinking, we're good.
Oh, brother. Yes, Alex is the tallest. Yeah.
I like to win contests that I really did nothing,
Oh my goodness! All right, so we're doing a radio show, and this radio show is about when you have a first conversation with an advisor at Akers Financial Group. Are you nervous or are you excited? Now, what happens is this: if you're listening to this show and you've already come in, you're already gotten past the nervousness of that first meeting, and you're into that excited of the meeting, and hopefully you're still excited to keep coming in and get things moving forward and checking on things.
Right, and you can usually tell, like in the lobby when you go up, like if there's multiple people meeting with different advisors, like you can tell who's there for the first time.
Yeah.
Like usually the husband's leg is bouncing a little bit. Mm-hmm. And like, the retired guy's like digging through the freebies in the corner, or, you know what I mean? Or like,
you mean our clients have been around
that have been around a while.
Yeah, they're getting the mints. They know where the mints are. They walk straight to the cafe and get coffee and water.
And the new people are like, oh my gosh, what are these people doing here? But for me, that's always like, okay, let's break the ice. Let's figure this out.
Yeah.
We do it every day.
Yeah, and it's what's enjoyable about being a financial advisor is that you get to interact with people and talk about something that they care about and help them to reach goals that they're dreaming and care about. So that's a very wonderful thing to guide and help people reach those goals. Because when they reach them and they come back in and tell us the stories, I love just hearing the stories about what they're doing.
Yeah, and
that's great.
For me, it's separating the emotions from their money. Because a lot of times, like I'm sure you've seen, like if you inherit money, it may have this, that, or the other attached to it, whether it's mental or like, I just want to hold these stocks because Uncle Stan loved them. And, that's what they, So there's just like figuring that whole puzzle out for me is just so much fun.
Yeah, I was thinking about this client we had for a few years before he retired. He'd bring spreadsheets in, how he's planned everything, the expenses, so he can travel and go and do all these things as soon as he retires. When he retired, the first thing he shows is a video of him wearing Hawaiian shirt to a big board meeting and telling him that this is my last meeting. And he sent me the video. That was pretty cool. But now that he's retired, he doesn't bring the spreadsheet with him. He's so relaxed now because he knows where the money's coming from. He's like, okay, I don't really need that much money right now. Next year I got...
Well, now we know what he was doing in his office. He was doing those spreadsheets for retirement.
Absolutely he was. And that's one thing where he had to know the numbers to where he was comfortable. And then now each year we're logistically looking at what can he do. Because he wants to travel and go and do things with family, and it just doesn't want to actually have to be concerned about the money each month. He just wants to know where it's coming from and how it's flowing.
And you see that a lot, like the people, I know who you're talking about, but like the C-suite people that have high stress jobs.
Yeah.
Like you can tell, like
you can tell once they are retired.
Lifts off their shoulders and they're just like.
Absolutely. Because they're a lot of the jobs that pay a lot of money want every moment of your life. And every moment of your life, you don't have time to even think about your finances and your life and what's going on with it. And so the emotions of the finances is, I just can't wait to retire. And I hope I have enough, but I just don't have time to look at it. So sometimes people that try to do it themselves, which ultimately very successful people bring financial advisors in rather quickly so that they're guided into it. They check in, you tell them 10 things they need to do. They do those things in basically in an hour.
Yeah.
They knock them out because that's the way they are in their life. They get things done. And so they get those done. They move on. What else I need to do? Okay, you're good. All right. And then they come in. Can I retire? I think I'm done with this work and I want to relax. I don't want to travel the world again. And then we say, yes, you retire. This much money. Is that enough? Absolutely. Then they walk in the next meeting and go, I did it. Why didn't you call me? It's interesting. But what happens is the emotion, does it drive you? Does it drive you with even starting a conversation with a financial advisor? That emotion can be a combination of things. The nervousness of telling someone about your finances by itself can be hard.
Yeah.
Now, what happens when someone's like that? They're unsure about telling you things. They're they want to keep their personal information tight. They don't trust you to a point where they're ready to open up.
I usually give them my home address. Yeah. I mean, I'll tell them whatever they want to see. I don't.
And try to take it slowly at their pace.
Yeah, at their pace. And just try to relate to them. It's like a doctor's office. Seen one, you seen them all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're not there to judge the person about what they've done right or done wrong. It is trying to say, well, what you've done and what he wanted to do.
Right.
And then trying to balance that out.
And I'll say, bank statements, I don't need to see what you're buying. I don't care what you spend your money on unless you come to me and say, hey, I make X number of dollars.
Where is it?
And I can't find, this.
Yeah.
Well, then it's like, okay, well, then we're going to have to figure out where the holes in your bucket are.
Yeah, then you got to dive deep.
But it just, every scenario is a little different. And, the money, when I was in college, that's why I wanted to do accounting. I figured if you could figure out where the money went and how it flowed, you'll always have a job.
It's true.
So far, so good.
Yeah, not bad. So the idea is this, when you're thinking about starting a conversation with a financial advisor and you want to have that first meeting, when you have to make a phone call and to initiate us meeting with you. And then, yes, we want to meet in person and talk about what's going on. It takes hour and 15 minutes. That's sort of the goal. Everybody wears out after that. Yeah. But about an hour or so is that conversation of just beginning so we can see what you possibly need and then how we can provide a service for you based on where you are.
Right. And you're not going to cure everything in 1 hour. We're not going to touch on everything in 1 hour. Mm-hmm. But for human time consumption, right? People that don't do it every day can't talk about finances for that long. I see people and it's just all right, Alex, you hit your time limit.
Yeah.
What you're saying no longer makes sense to me.
Usually that's later on when you're trying to implement and you're trying to explain the detail, the tax code and why. And that they're like, all right, I get the gist. I'm okay with the end result. So let's go with that.
Yeah.
So the idea, you might be scared, you might be nervous, you might be thinking about having no time to do something like this, and we think it's very valuable to have the time. We will try to meet on your time. Some people don't want to organize the information because they've been afraid of that pile of paper for many years. They just let it go, shut the door.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it. Sometimes you have envelopes you don't want to open.
Yeah, or if there's just I had this new client recently. They had changed jobs a lot. There's just a lot. She's like, I've been meaning to consolidate all these. It just got to the point where it's overwhelming. And for me to do it on my own, it would take them so much longer because they've never done it before.
Yeah, then certain situations might be a second marriage or so, and they have their own personal finances. One's really good at it, and the other one's really not good at it. and they have certain talks at home about finances, and they don't really want to bring that into a meeting. But sometimes it's good when we sit down and talk about where they are and try to bring these joint topics together so they can grow their finances together for a retirement together.
Yeah, I mean, it's really easy to save money when you're both on the same page, like your goals are aligned.
Yep.
You have a general understanding of what's happening. But if you're both if you both want to retire, like that's the main goal. And now let's just figure out how to get you there based on what you have. Like, how do you earn? How do you save, et cetera?
We have cases where one wants to retire and the other one loves their job, doesn't want to stop. And so the idea is to understand, how do you apply that to a financial plan, and how can the one that wants to retire? And then how can the one that doesn't want to retire, how does that work? And how can they have a balanced, good retirement life when only one's truly retired? That's been a more complex issue with certain cases in the last year or two.
Yeah, and it's tough, like when there's a pretty good age gap too. I have a couple scenarios where there's an age gap, and it's like, well, mathematically. But like I'm a big believer in doing some stuff now. I know you feel similar. But you know, life's not promised, so do as much as you can now. Yeah,
balance your life when it comes to the travel, the fun, the idea of putting every cent to the future is not really what we recommend. We want to have a balance today and tomorrow. The hardest part with people is that sometimes they'll spend so much money that they've already spent tomorrow's money. They got themselves into a hole, into debt. And this could be even at the highest levels where they've paid for all these advanced degrees and they have so much debt, they don't even know where to start. And we got to get them to a point where they can begin saving, where they can accomplish some other goals. And it does take discipline, and that's not fun to think about. And so sometimes that's a hindrance to that first conversation, is I don't know if I want to work that hard at it. The idea is that getting it started, getting it on an automatic pace, getting things to happen regularly as a paycheck hits, things are starting to get paid off. And then all of a sudden, in a year or so, the finances start to free up and you're feeling incredibly better. And that's what we want our clients to get to, and no matter what situation they are.
And it's different based on age too, right? Like,
yeah, well, when your clock starts running out, the anxiety of, I got to get it done now. The younger you are, the earlier start, the better. It makes things so much easier.
It does, and it gives you like this longer view of the money.
Yeah.
So like you have an understanding of it, and then you see it working. And if you're like consciously paying attention and you've seen your money double, triple, quadruple, then the trust issue when you go into retirement is not as bad.
That's how you turn that nervousness into excitement, and the fact that the nervousness of saving and nervousness about retirement, you start saving money and it builds and builds and builds, and all of a sudden it comes that day when you say, I do have enough. How about that? And then like you can yell, let's go, and then you go. But then you realize that the best part of retirement is truly when you get all your time back. It's where you decide how to use your own time. Before retirement, your time is tied up with, everything like job. You got to work certain hours, certain days, right? A lot of that goes away in retirement years. Your time is now consumed by things that you want to do, and some of them do cost money. It's so easy to begin winning in retirement. We want you to go to our website, akersfinancialgroup.com, scroll to the schedule a meeting section, and let us know you'd like to schedule your free conversation, that time with one of our team of advisors. That's akersfinancialgroup.com, or you can call us at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE. We'll give you a call on Monday to schedule your free in-person conversation. Go to Akers Financial Group or call us at 833-946-7384. to start planning for your retirement now. What to expect in that first meeting with a financial advisor? We'll talk about that when we return in a moment.
You're listening to a pre-recorded show. Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. Call 833-WIN-RETIRE now to schedule a visit with Brian and his team and begin winning in retirement. Once again, here's Brian Akers.
Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. I'm the host, Brian Akers from Akers Financial Group, and here with me today is Alex Monk from Akers Financial Group. We welcome you to the fourth quarter of our show today. We're talking about the first conversation with a financial advisor from Akers Financial Group. Are you nervous? Are you excited about something like that? We want you to understand that it all starts with a phone call where you initiate the opportunity for us to sit down and talk about where you are now and where you want to be. And we try to guide you through our independent financial services that we offer our clients. And we can sit down and talk about what that means for you now and for your long-term future. So here in the fourth quarter, we are basically going to be talking about that first actual meeting, not just the hello, but really what are we trying to cover, and really try to cover that the best we can. If you missed any of this show, you can go to our website at akersfinancialgroup.com. That's Akers, A-K-E-R-S, financialgroup.com. On that website, there's a radio podcast. You can click that and go right there and listen on through our website, or you can go to any podcast and see Winning in Retirement. It's right there. And we're everywhere, and you can listen.
It's a strange thought.
Oh, it's cool though. It's like I actually go back and listen to certain shows just to hear how we said something or what we said. And
I don't know that I'm like at the point where I see someone cutting their grass and I'm like, yeah, that guy's got us on in his headphones. But one day.
Oh, but some of our pre-retired people will go through multiple shows just to hear, and so that when they're like ready for that meeting with us, so they understand the topics, the wording, the Roth IRA concepts, all these things. And so it's a great resource for people to go to our website or straight to a podcast and type Winning in Retirement. All right, Paul, oh my goodness, how do we start this talk to finish up? We're trying to cover a first meeting without pretending it's a first meeting. So
I mean, that's exactly what it is, right? So
well, it's a conversation more than a like an agenda-led meeting, right?
Well, so the client comes in with whatever they're looking for.
Yeah, and it starts from that.
And it usually starts from that, right? And then depending on, what are we trying to accomplish? What are we trying to answer?
So what are you trying to sell them in the first meeting, Alex?
Usually I try to get them to take a pen.
Okay, that's free though. The Akers Financial Group pen, that's a prized possession.
Yeah, so I usually slap a notepad down in front of them and a pen.
Nice.
So they get that. So I sell them that free pen and paper, and usually just to take like 3-4 notes. Like, yeah, you might want to write this one down.
Oh, yeah. So the idea really is we're not selling anything. We're giving you a pen. You can get water and coffee though. That's a pretty exciting thing.
But really, it's about building the trust. So I guess it's selling myself, selling the Akers Financial approach to how we do business, right? Like that's how we do it.
Absolutely. And why we're independent. We're not with a large firm. We're not, usually the larger firm you're with, all of a sudden you got to do certain things a certain way, and that's it. You can't go outside the parameters.
Right, and I'm a toddler-like human, right? Like, I'm like, why do I have to do that?
You're a toddler-like human?
Oh, yeah. Like why?
Okay, I think I understand that. I have to agree with you. Okay, the why is a financial advisor handcuffed on what they can offer someone?
Correct.
Well, the reality is that when they're larger the company, they have compliance people and people that want to track everyone that works there. And it's like, all right, we approve this, and that's all you're allowed to do. If you want to go outside of that, no. Right. And it's sort of like a toddler. And the answer is no.
Yeah, there is no, it's because I said so, right? Like, It's like, this is how it's going to go.
No is just an easier answer sometimes, unless they ask why and why. And then if you use the word because, then they use the word because. The toddler does.
Right.
You have a toddler, right?
I do.
And what's his favorite word?
It depends. Some days on no kicks, some days on yes kicks.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's got a couple hundred words now.
He's got the Y kicked.
Oh, yeah, he's a mess.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. So what happens is that in that first meeting with a financial advisor, we want you to know what to expect from us. One is that nothing's going to be sold to you. The idea is for you to talk. There will be coffee, water, mints, Akers Financial pen. What do you bring? Well, we send an email, and we have it on our website, the documents. You can bring the documents that you're comfortable bringing. The more information you bring, we can offer some general ideas in the meeting, the more information you bring. If you just have the conversation without the information, that's fine.
Yep.
Because the idea is the concepts of what you want your dreams to be, what you want to accomplish. We then later on have to dig in, and we do need documentation. And by the end of the first meeting, we can tell you how we can work together and what we need for that second meeting.
All right, and we can show you how to get it. Because like a lot of times you might be looking at that email the night before, and you're like, I don't think Social Security sent me a statement in the mail in like 10 years.
No, it all takes time to gather, especially when you're trying to get a pension estimate from your work. You're trying to find out what the match is, what the investment choices are in their 401k. Or
so gather what you can find.
Yeah, bring what you want. Bring yourself mainly,
Yeah.
and make sure your spouse jumps in the car too. We like to have the whole family. Now, the answer is this: is that we will, in the second meeting, put our answers in writing based on whatever the conversation was. We'll begin our talks with a listed out discussion items of things to do, things to review, and basically repeat back to you on what you've told us so far, so we can start building a recommendation that applies to you and your family.
Yeah.
So it's where we work together. We want to work at your pace and understand that we want to be the advisor is probably the main product. Is we love to be the advisor. We want to begin somewhere and then start to build from there.
Right, and that gives us the ability to help more people, I guess would be the right answer, right? Like, we're flexible enough to do whatever's best for that person.
But being a fee-based company in that we can charge planning fees for planning, we charge fees for active money management, and it's fee-based, but then we also have some commissionable products that people might need, and then we'd sell those separately, which would then we try to keep the other fees lower to balance it out. So it's
right.
What the amount of money that's paid is very reasonable. The hardest part when it comes to nervousness of financial planning is, well, can you trust that person? Can you trust what's going on? That first meeting is about building a trust and a level where you understand what we say on the radio and who we are on the radio is actually the real person that you meet in person.
Yeah, and just to kind of set expectations as well, right? Like, I've had first meetings with people like, well, if I give you $50,000, what can you do with it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, give me more. Like, give me more information. Like, what kind of money is it? How does it relate to your overall net worth? Like, what am I going up against here?
Usually that conversation is someone that has been trading, day trading, very active. Usually they're reading a lot of trading blogs. They're really into the short term only. Their eyes aren't long term.
Yep.
I try to take that, usually a younger person, and say, well, think longer term and think where the risk level you have. Do you really need to risk all that money for all of your money? And the reality is, no, you should not. Because if we are successful and we can build our lifetime money, the money we need to cover our lifetime, we can always risk some of the other money in the short-term things.
Yep.
But we need to have our base, our core money to provide for our life, and we can't risk that. We need to take a lower risk profile on that money.
Right, because like what you're talking about there is preventing huge losses.
Yeah.
That's a disaster.
I had this guy, he's brilliant. He's a real high up rocket scientist, and he's like, I had some good years, had some bad years. And I said, well, is the numbers higher? He goes, it is based on what I save. I don't know if I had any real growth in the investments. And I'm like, well, do you ever leave any money alone, let it grow? Oh, no, I'm in and out all the time. And I try to teach some basics things of the market and how the market has volatility every year. And the idea is if you consistently buy the market over time, we're going to be pretty good.
Usually fine.
If you make 12% average, the money doubles in 6 years. Makes 10% average, it doubles in 7. 7% average, you're doubling every 10 years. The younger that you are, if you let that money grow and let it almost leave it alone at times, you're going to have some money that's percolating, and over time, all of a sudden, your 10 became 20, 20, 40 become 80,000, and you grow from there.
Yeah, and time is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
I meet a lot of people and they want to do it all, like their whole retirement plan in that one day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, Social Security's not for another 6 years. We can't make that decision today.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to, here's how we do it.
Yep. Very true.
We can't make all the decisions today. And I think rules will change. They always do.
They keep changing, and that's why we meet ongoing with clients. So the idea of the nervousness that you have on why you might not have had that first conversation yet, we want that to go away, because the nervousness is you might be fearful of something. And the things that might be the things that you fear, we want to take those away. We want to understand who you are. You get to tell us information at your pace. You get to show us documents when you're ready. It's not a requirement like that. You have to have a full net worth statement with every account number immediately.
If that was if that was the requirement, we wouldn't be doing so great.
Well, some people do that. So. But we send a list out, and some people take that list to heart. Like, I got to give everything. And it's like, oh, the idea is you bring what you can.
Yeah.
And then that starts that first conversation. The first conversation is really the ability for you to try to talk about where you are and what you want your money to accomplish for you.
Yeah.
That's how you got to start.
And like, what do you want to achieve? What do you want it to do? And that's a big deal, right? Like, because if you're committing, a large percentage of your net worth or investable portfolio to buying a beach house or an RV, like all those big ticket things, like we need to have things aligned for that. Like, that's not I think tomorrow I'm going to go buy another house.
Yeah. Even though we have clients like that, though, that call and they say, "Oh, I decided to do this. I need $200,000
the house."
Yeah, I got settlement in 2 weeks. I need money. Yeah, we've had some of that. Yeah. The idea is this. The first conversation, are you nervous or excited? We want you to ultimately become excited about the relationship, about the ability to reach your goals to a point where the excitement is motivation to your future. The nervousness is a normal thing. We want you to understand that it is a priority and it is a big deal. We respect that. That's why our conversation is a conversation to begin. Thank you very much, Alex, for a good show today.
It's been fun, Brian.
It's been fun trying to explain this first conversation that we have with clients, because people do feel a little nervous. Sometimes that prevents them from coming in. They procrastinate. And what we really want people to do is to actually engage and begin by making that first phone call. So that's what we covered today. We look forward to meeting with you. Go ahead and go to our website at akersfinancialgroup.com. And that's where you can tell us about yourself a little bit and set up that first meeting. You can actually write down, I want my first conversation. Or you can also call us at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE. We'll give you a call on Monday to schedule a free in-person meeting with one of our team of advisors. Start planning for your retirement now. Go to akersfinancialgroup.com or call us at 833-946-7384. Thank you for listening. I'm Brian Akers from Akers Financial Group, and we want you to be winning in retirement.
You've been listening to Winning in Retirement with your host, Brian Akers of Akers Financial Group. Akers Financial Group offers securities through Archedios Capital, an SIPC and FINRA member firm. Advisory services are provided through Archedios Wealth. Akers Financial Group and Archedios do not share any common ownership. Neither Archedios nor Akers Financial Group provides tax or legal advice. Advice given on winning in retirement is general in nature, and one should seek further advice from their financial advisor, broker, attorney, and or tax accountant before investing. Be sure to read each prospectus carefully to understand all the risks associated with each investment. Examples and scenarios shared are meant to be for illustrative purposes only. Past performance is not indicative of future results.